Welcome again to Deeply Connected. And as I was thinking about the subject of my episode today, I thought about taking your power back. And then I thought about what does that even mean to take your power back and how does that look like? And then I thought it's not really about taking your power back. It's really unbecoming who you were never meant to be and becoming who you were always meant to be. So it's more about really coming into your true essence, the essence of who you are from the moment that you were coming into this world. You were always meant to be that person. And then the world and your parents and society got the hands on you. And here we are, so many decades in, trying to figure out how to be that woman that you really want to be. As you navigate through your life, married or single, and you witness yourself with behaviors of control or reactivity or this inability of expressing yourself and your emotions, you might feel like you want to do life and relationships differently, and you have no clue how to change that. And I hear you. I hear you because you don't know anything else who you are right now at this moment. And some parts of who you are really challenging for you. And they, carry this weight that you want to be working with instead of carrying around with you. So when I think of us women, we are in our essence this beautiful energy of openness and heart and spaciousness. We are in a space of relationships, the one that creates emotional availability to receive. And when we become disconnected from that at the early age and we are asked to become tough and armored and shift from this playfulness of the little girl that likes to color and jump around and play with her girlfriends and just being silly ass to someone who needs to handle herself and someone who needs to count on herself, and your emotions become unbearable for people around you. We shift into this masculine way of living and doing life. And it's literally doing life. So when I think of power, I don't think about power over. I think your inner power of choosing yourself over and over and over again, no matter the cost, what the cost of that choice is for yourself. Of truly choosing this is who I am, and if you are trying to figure out who you want to be, then what's the cost of you choosing yourself over and over and over again? And why is this important? It is important because if you are listening to this podcast, apparently you are looking for some answers, you are looking for understanding, and you are trying to navigate all the challenges of your daily experience. And sometimes you lay your head on a pillow in the evening and you think, how am I going to feel better tomorrow? How am I going to manage everything that's on my plate? How will I show up in my marriage when I just feel so unmotivated and unfulfilled? Or how will I show up in my career or my dating when I just don't have anything else? I'm spread thin. And as you lay down on your bed in the evening and you are about to close your eyes, it just feels like life has to be more than that. And you just don't know how to get there. And this is exactly where this unraveling of layers comes in. Because there are layers and layers to who you are and parts of who you are. You are not this one simplistic minded creature that can think only in one way or feel in one way. You have so much richness in yourself. You carry so much of who you are everywhere you go. And for you to even embark on the journey of understanding, you need to be in acceptance of that. You can be kind and you can be angry, that you can be soft and you can be mean, that you can be light in a way of being, and that you can be very tough, depending on what is required of you or what you think is necessary for you in different moments. So as I'm speaking about this, I really want to make sure that you receive what you need here. And one way of looking at your process and who you are and who you want to become, you have to be very, very clear, I think you are, on what you don't like in your behaviors or what you don't like in a way your relationships and your life is unfolding. Because if you know what you don't like, first of all, we need to have a lot of grace for everything that is maybe not in alignment for your future self, a lot of compassion, a lot of understanding, a lot of gentleness for the parts of you that have been protecting you for years and years and years, for the parts of you that made you able to function in this world. That in general, we live in very masculine world and masculine structures, and everything is focused on doing. Whatever you are in corporate or in business, everything is structured, everything is planned, everything requires your analytical thinking. And in this time, we are required of so much of doing and being in a masculine. And so if you've been very successful in navigating that, yes, with challenges of maybe burnouts and overwhelm, but you are doing it, you are creating success. Stepping into something completely different, or even being open to the notion of, I don't have to be tough and on and doing all the time if I want to feel differently in my life, will feel very foreign. And it might not even make sense to you because it's not productive, because it's not doing again. I remember my moment when I lived in California and I moved abroad. I studied abroad. I got my master's degree in a foreign country, and then I moved again, and I was in US with my family and my husband, and I was standing in my house thinking, I did all of that to feel this way, to feel so disempowered, so overwhelmed, and there was nothing wrong with my husband or my children. There was something within me that has been pushed away and tucked away and not paid attention to for a long time. And I remember looking in a mirror and thinking, this cannot be it, this cannot be it. And I know it's not my children, and I know it's not my husband, even though I could think they are, but it's really me. So this inquiry of you feeling disconnected, feeling unfulfilled, feeling like there has to be a different way of doing life. There has to be a different type of confidence and different type of connection for you. Let me tell you that there is this opportunity, and it really demands of you to ask the question, what I don't like about myself right now and how I'm operating and living. What I don't like about me showing up in all my relationships. And before going to other people and blaming them, I want you to answer the question, how am I playing the part in all of this? Because I am the creator of my life and my circumstances, whatever it looks like. And so when you open the door to this question and you take time to answer it, it can be very confronting. It can be confronting. It is a one thing to say, I want to feel better, I want to feel different, I want to feel peaceful, I want to feel calm, connected, fulfilled, loved, validated. And then when the opportunity is shown and the question is asked, it requires another level of commitment to curiosity and courageousness to answer the questions and go through that door that may lead you to so many different ways of being and becoming and unbecoming. And so understanding that it is always you and always you before anybody else that decides how you're going to feel in your life and what you will feel about yourself in your own existence. as I say, presents an opportunity. So if you see that you are constantly operating from the masculine and you are constantly on a, the next and the next and the next, we can catch ourselves with our kids. What's the next thing to do? And you are running from one schedule to another and then to work and back home. And however it looks like in your life, I know you are so busy and so overwhelmed. And some days maybe you manage it better than others. But overall, you are craving something completely different. And when you recognize those behaviors that are driving all this overwhelm and the choices that you make and the boundaries that you are lacking and the honesty that it requires of you with you, again, it presents an opportunity. So the power that you are taking back, it's always within you. There is always access to the self-leadership and the authentic self that always lives within you. It's just sometimes hard to access because we have all those protective parts that show up to play a role because the roles were demanded for. So if you see yourself being controlling and go, and do, and you just think, I just wish everything could slow down, I applaud you even for wanting it and stating that you deserve it. Because in a society and culture where so many of us judge ourselves or value ourselves on our productivity and how much money we make, how many titles we acquire, how many hours a week we work, in a society that values all of that, very masculine. And also, I would say it's wounded masculine, because the healed masculine is strong and protective, but also nurturing and present. And if you are trying to change who you are, I will tell you it's going to some time. It's going to take time, and it's going to take this discomfort of shifting and understanding that you are more than your doing. You are more than your accomplishments. You are more than your wealth. You are more than anything that you can measure with materialistic success. It really doesn't matter how much you work. It really doesn't matter how much money you make. What really matters is how connected you feel to yourself, to the deeper sense and identity of self. And that goes even beyond you being in your body. What is the deeper connection? You between you, before anybody else. Because you can't put a number on a price on your worth. It's priceless. Your worth, it's like you are priceless. You are valuable because you just are. And you need to unlearn all the beliefs of this culture that tells you and shows you that you are only worthy when you look a certain way, you move a certain way, you weigh X amount of pounds, you make X amount of money. If you are this type of a wife or this type of a woman or mother, and it will require you to like peel off all the layers of conditioning, all the layers of programming that you didn't ask for. You didn't ask for. We are just bombarded with it every single day, not only through our family, but through the society, the pop culture, wherever you see around you influences you on some level if you are not intentional. So if you notice yourself going through the motions, emotionless, there is a question to ask. What does it mean? Not even what does it mean. What is it worth for me? What's the value of me becoming more connected to myself instead of choosing the same responses and reactions over and over and over and over again? What is the value of me exploring that I was never too much, that I was never too emotional, that I was never the one that was broken. What's the value of that? How much would my life change if I could really accept that, but not only accept, but also embody that? How would that change me? How would that feel for me? Not what I would think, how would that feel for me? To be in the truest embodiment of just that. I'm valuable no matter what I produce. I'm valuable no matter if I'm loud or soft or going crazy sometimes. No matter what, I'm always valuable. How would that feel? What would that do for you? What would that do for you? What would that do for you if you would extend the same love and courtesy and nurture that you extend for other people, if you would extend that to yourself? And for us women, so many of us were conditioned that our value comes from taking care of others, and then we are always the last on our to-do list of priorities. That if you just imagine for once that you are on the top and everybody else comes next, and if you are not taking care of, anybody else cannot be taken care of. So imagine if that was the reality of you just owning that and claiming that. How would that feel? Before doing anything else, just allowing yourself to claim that and not feeling shame and not feeling guilt and just saying, this is what I want, this is who I am, and this is how I will be choosing to live my life right now. And the question is always, how do we keep shifting from this doing way of being to more being way of being? Such an interesting question, and because it is a duality and we need both. And when you notice yourself that there are seasons when you are mostly in the masculine, is the work requirements or you need to provide for yourself or there are some commitments, the question arises, are you aware? And when you are aware that you are in that space and how you react and you see the signs, what do you do with it? Do you just keep going or you do slow down? And if you do keep going, is it because you feel like you don't have an option and you cannot slow down, or your business or career or household is going to fall apart? Or is it because you truly want it and desire it? And how do you allow yourself to lean back when you are required to do more, and instead of that, you just allow yourself to be more? How hard would that be? And would you give yourself that gift of trying it out? Of trying it out and trying to be and do life a little bit differently than what you have done so far. Sometimes we don't even know what we want. Sometimes I speak to my clients and they say, I don't even know what I want sometimes. Well, I want a little bit of this, I want a little bit of that, I want better relationships, but what is this really that you desire? What is this feeling or transformation that you desire? And in one shape or form, it always comes back to deep connection. No matter what, deep connection, we all want it. And there is this opening that for deep connection, we need to become more of soft beings instead of the stuff doings. We operate so much in that. So if you are a high achieving woman and you say yes to yourself and you say, yes, I'm ready to explore this, I want you to make a list of behaviors that you see are not serving you anymore. In your relationships, in your career, in your business, just look at all the behaviors that you have there. And just ask yourself, what would happen if I could shift at least two of them, or one of them, or all of them? What would happen in the quality of my life and how I feel about myself in my essence? In my essence, how do I feel? And if it's still difficult to answer, because it might be, because being is so foreign, then I would encourage you to do something very small. I would encourage you to think about, what did you like to do when you were a little girl and you had a free time with your friends, what did you enjoy to do? Did you enjoy playing outside? Did you enjoy listening to music? Did you enjoy painting? What was that thing that you really enjoyed and that was creative? And find time to implement that in your life. For me, it's dancing and it's music, and it has always been. So implement that thing that connected you to creativity, that thing that connected you to being a way of free spirit. Like, we all are free spirits and we all want to connect. So what is that one thing that you can add? And I know we don't want to keep adding things to our life. I can already hear you through this screen saying, Ludmila, I want to subtract, not to add. But when you add something that nourishes your soul and your heart and connection to self, some things will naturally start to fall off. Because you will start understanding what really matters to you and what makes you feel alive. That's another question. What would make you feel alive right now? What would that be? Yeah, what would that be? How does aliveness even would feel in my body? And when was the last time when I felt that way? And so if you commit to that, know that just asking those questions is going to open you up to so much more. What would happen if I was less controlling? What would happen if I would ask for support? What would happen if I would say no to things? What would happen if I had boundaries that were really serving me first? Because if you say no more to things that don't serve you, you create more space for the things that you really do want to have in your life and experiences. So if you own saying no without guilt and shame, what could you create in your life? And how do you want to connect to yourself? What's the best way to connect to yourself that puts a smile on your face? I have few. But I want you to think, what is this for you? For me, I said, it's music, being with people that I love, enjoying a really nice dinner, going for a hike in the mountains, being with my kids and my husband. There are so many ways that can really connect you to aliveness within yourself without making a huge change. Just adding something that's pleasurable for yourself. If I would tell you you have the whole month, choose 1 month, and for this whole month, say yes to something you love every single day instead of saying yes to something that is an obligation. How would that change you? How would that open you up to the pleasure, the deeper sense of pleasure? Because rate yourself on your pleasure scale right now. What is that? And when I talk about pleasure, it's not only sexual or sensual. What is that pleasure in your life? When you are with yourself and with other people, how do you create that? How do you connect to that? And this is the question for so many of you. And I was there and I keep asking myself this question every few months because I keep reinventing myself and I keep elevating and I keep changing and growing. And before we grow, we almost have to collapse within to again rebuild ourselves. It's like this whole process of almost collapsing and rebuilding and collapsing and rebuilding. And some things don't have to be rebuilt anymore at some point, but some have to be reinvented and shaped in different ways, whatever the season is for us. So think about that. Think about that. Who do you want to be? How do you want to feel? What do you need to let go of? What does not longer serve you? When you are constantly in your masculine doing, are you even able to experience being in your feminine? How much pleasure, how much aliveness is a part of your life? And what can you do for 1 whole month, 30 days, to connect yourself to something pleasurable and enjoyable? And it can be as small as drinking a coffee and taking your time and smelling the flavor of the hop, smelling the coffee, tasting the flavor, holding the cup, and experiencing it in your hand and the warmth of the cup and the texture of the cup, and being present to your own experience, being with yourself. Because sometimes we don't have to change the whole way of being. Sometimes we just need to start adding those small moments of connection that over time would transform you in your life. So I truly encourage you to make an edit and to really claim what you want more of from yourself, in yourself, and from your life. And don't wait with leaping forward. Because time is the only thing that we cannot gain more of. And when you do, and when you take that chance on yourself, you will see everything shifting for you. It won't be easy, it won't be pretty all the time, but it will be worth it. And remember, may we stay deeply connected to ourselves and people around us.